So as I start today, I would love to just welcome everyone and say thank you for taking the time to listen. And I'd like you to think about how different news or different things that have happened in your life have actually changed your life. And so if you would keep an open mind and just be curious about what you're about to hear, if you're brand new, you may probably have never heard of this. And if you're coming on, I'll ask that you mute your lines so we will get the feedback. And so I would like you to think of just, you're about to hear of a breakthrough that's brand new, that is a true breakthrough, which you will see in just a second. And I'd like you to think about maybe somebody that has a health challenge, somebody you love, or maybe you have a health challenge. Maybe it's something that you would like to look younger. A lot of people would like to look younger or keep that youthful appearance. Maybe you would like to have more endurance during the day, or if you're an athlete, to have greater athletic ability, endurance, and stamina, and then recover faster. Maybe this is something you would like to look at and learn about because it could give you more purpose in your life. Maybe you would like to have an additional stream of income, or maybe you're just tired of going to the doctor and having them always give you a prescription and or suggest surgery to you. And I'm not saying those aren't relevant. They are very relevant. However, sometimes there are better ways to help the body heal itself than with drugs and surgeries. And so if you'll just keep an open mind today about what you're hearing and listening to, I will present some information to you that could help change your life or someone you love's life. As an introduction, I will just say that my name is Debbie Wetzler. I live in Maryland in the United States. I've been an entrepreneur my whole life. I have owned several businesses. The last one was an interior design business. I had always done very, very well. Was married for several years and had two beautiful children. My daughter is up top. My son is here with his beautiful wife, and I have two little cute grandchildren. And something happened when I stepped down to help a man with his children's website in 2007. He went bankrupt in 2008 when the economy dipped so low, and I was left with absolutely no money coming in. I was a little panicked. People were not hiring in my area in Washington, D.C., I think many places around the world actually at that point. And I went through all of my savings trying to keep my daughter and I in the house and keep her in college and not let her know what was happening in my life. And it was a very scary time in my life. I finally found a job as a server in a restaurant. I was working double shifts in order to try to make enough money to make ends meet. I had a 20-minute break during the day, but I was working 10 in the morning till midnight or 1 or 2 every day, just trying to make enough money for food. And I finally got to the point where I was behind in my mortgage. I just couldn't keep up and work enough hours. And so they sent me a letter of foreclosure. That was one of the lowest days of my life. I went upstairs. I was just panic stricken. I got down on my knees because that's what I do. I do pray. And I just put out a prayer to ask for something that I could help people with and that would turn me around financially, and got into bed very, very, very upset. And the next morning, the phone rang before I could ever get out of bed. It was a friend of mine who was telling me about ASEA. And she told me that she'd done a lot of research. She was a very good businesswoman. I'd known her for many, many years and a good friend. And she had called to tell me about a breakthrough that had saved 3 of her best friends' lives. And she had decided to share this with the world. And so that's when my life changed. I went downstairs to watch the video that she'd sent me, and I heard about redox molecules, something I'd never heard of in my life. But as I was watching where they were made and what they did for the body, I just thought to myself, if this is really true, then this has got to be huge. And so I thought of a girlfriend of mine who happened to be very, very smart. She was a molecular biologist who had graduated from Johns Hopkins University, one of our most prestigious, and had done research at the National Institutes of Health for many years. So I called her and I asked her if I could show her some information, if she could validate it and teach me more about it. And so I went to her house that night. I put down the information, and I'll never forget her look. She almost fell off her chair. She looked and said, Debbie, I've been studying these molecules for 17 years. We've had scientists from around the world come to NIH to try to do this. Are you telling me that somebody was finally able to stabilize these molecules outside the human body in a bioactive form? And when I said yes, she said, you have no idea how massive this is. This will change the medical field as you know it. She took a textbook off of her shelf right in front of her computer and opened it up, and it was all about redox. And she started teaching me. She said, redox molecules are made in every cell of your body. And they're made of salt and water. That's what the healing molecules are made of. And these molecules are meant to regulate every major system in the body and keep it in balance and keep it healthy, because that's what these molecules do. These are the molecules that allow your body to heal itself. She said they are first meant to protect your cells, because we are constantly being bombarded by toxins from the air we breathe, from the food we eat, from the things we drink, from everywhere, many toxins and stress. But of course, damaged cells become damaged, and so then they're meant to detect those damaged cells anywhere they are in the body. And she was the first to tell me that these would cross the blood-brain barrier and keep the cells in your brain healthy also. And she said, you'll have amazing results with all the brain issues that the world is having now, such as autism, Alzheimer's, bipolar, mental retardation, brain injury, mood enhancing, and focusing. So she was telling me things that were just mind-boggling to me. When they detect these damaged cells, they are meant to repair them or replace them. And in that way, the communication that these molecules are supposed to have and be able to allow your cells to do are then allowing your whole body and all of your cells in your body to be healthy. So I like to do a little visual. These are two healthy cells. One becomes damaged, the signal goes out. The immune system comes in and says, I can repair you. So it repairs the healthy cell to make it healthy again, and you've got two healthy cells. But sometimes cells become so badly damaged, and every cell is pre-programmed to kill itself off if it's too badly damaged. So then the signal goes out, the immune system comes in and tells that cell to kill itself off. That cell is taken away by the body, and a healthy cell next to it will replace itself with another healthy cell. If all the cells in your body are healthy, then you're healthy. The issue comes because as we age, we lose these redox molecules. When you're very, very young, between the ages of about 1 and 10, it starts with puberty. So that's about 10 for most people. You have trillions of these cells in your body, and you run around all day with lots and lots of energy. And you go to bed, you wake up every morning. When you get up, you never have sore muscles or an aching back. And that's because we are constantly healing. But then even as a teenager, if we go work out in a gym and you push yourself too hard, you wake up with sore muscles the next day. You're already not healing as quickly. And by the time you get to 70, you're at about 10% of what you used to have. And the signals are much weaker. And so that's why 70-year-olds don't heal nearly as quickly. That's why they have bags and sags and wrinkles on their face and age spots. And all of that that's showing on the outside is also happening on the inside. And so they're just not as healthy. This is the first time in the history of mankind that we have been able to replenish redox molecules in our body, identical to what our body makes. And our body starts responding like we're younger and can heal itself much faster. She went on to tell me how very large this science was. And she did an analogy that just explained that our body has got the biggest communication system, bigger than AT&T and Verizon and all the other systems that are out there. And sometimes you have a cell or a problem in your body, and it's like a house on fire. And you go to call the fire department with your cell phone. And you are older, and the cell signaling is not as good. And so it's like having one bar on your phone. And so the fire department's trying to find the address to come put out the fire, and they can't hear your address. So your house burns down. But now you add fresh redox signaling molecules to your body with ASEA, and those cells become stronger. And now you've got 5 bars on your cell phone, and the fire department can hear the identical address and go down and put that house fire out. So it is the first supplement in the world to provide the cell signaling that allows your signals to become much stronger and be able to help your body heal itself faster. So as I was saying, she was telling me how very large the science was. She told me that there had already been 1,200 books, articles, journals that are published monthly about redox technology, which I was just amazed. I'd never heard of it. She went to PubMed, which is our International Public Library of Health. At the time, there was maybe 2,000 peer-reviewed studies, which was a lot even for back then. That was 9.5 years ago. But now there's over 18,000 studies that have been published in peer-reviewed scientific and medical journals. And since then, Dr. James Watson of Watson and Crick, who discovered the double helix of DNA, has published an article in the Lancet Medical Journal stating that type 2 diabetes, cancer, and brain disorders are the lack of redox signaling molecules. This is when doctors really started to pay attention. Everyone knows who Dr. James Watson is. There have been many grants granted for opening redox research centers. And some of them have been granted by our National Institute of Health, which I said is our largest research facility. So one was at the University of Medicine at South Carolina. One has been at Cornell. One has been at Harvard. And they're doing research on redox signaling molecules and the pathophysiological states, and particularly in regard to cancer and male reproduction and aging. And of course, at Vanderbilt, they opened a lab there also to study redox research. And there's also been one at the University of Nebraska at Omaha. This June in Paris, they're going to have a Redox World Congress where doctors from around the world are flying into to discuss the effects and what redox signaling molecules can do for people. This is huge, and it's in the news now all the time. And we are the only company in the world that has been able to make and stabilize redox signaling molecules. So you can imagine the impact that we are having in the world. At the time, the ASEA bottle looked like this. She went on to look up that it was completely safe, 100% safe, non-toxic, proven effective, native to the body. Native means your body makes them. Natural means it's good for you, but native is something completely different. And she looked at me and she said, you get on this product, you get your mother on it, and you get your children on this. And she ordered some herself that night. That's how powerful she thought and knew it was, and she's been on it ever since. Any blood sugar level issue that she had has gone away completely. Since then, another breakthrough happened when 4 years later, they were able to make a gel out of these redox molecules. Redox molecules are so reactive, and they do their work in nanoseconds. So the minute you put them in your mouth, we swish them around, and the receptors under your tongue take them right into the tissues, and they're organic. And of course, that makes them start reacting and looking for those damaged cells immediately. So they had to find something very benign, like a clay, to put the redox molecules in. So now when you rub that on, the redox molecules go right into your skin, and they go right to work doing their work for helping the skin, which is your largest organ. So Redox and Renew 28 came out for your skin, and it does help you look younger. And the Renew 28 was helping our wrinkles, our smoothness, our elasticity, and our hydration by about 20%. We've had that tested at Dermatest Labs, which I will show you briefly later. And we also know that redox molecules activate your antioxidants. Glutathione is one of your master antioxidants. It gives you about 8% more effectiveness and production of glutathione. And I can tell you that there's many diseases related to low glutathione rates. But one of the things that glutathione does is to help detoxify you. And so as we were rubbing the Renew 28 on, we were putting other things on our skin, and they were full of chemicals, moisturizers, cleansers, things like that. And so the Renew 28 was having to detoxify us and then help our skin look younger. So because of that, ASEA did a lot of more research, and 2 years later came out with an advanced skincare system. So now we have an all-natural cleanser. Then we rub the Renew 28 all over our face. We put a serum that's even more concentrated around spots that might need more work, which might have deeper wrinkles or some other effects that we want to get rid of. And then we put this wonderful moisturizer on. Now the Renew 28 can just work on your skin because there's no chemicals or anything else for it to try to detoxify your body of. And the Renew Advanced Skincare Kit can get results in 24 to 48 hours. You will see a difference. And be sure and take a before and after picture. I'll show you why in a second. So since pictures are worth 1,000 words, we have people who have, because that was the challenge to us, take a before picture, then use the product for 28 days, because that's how often our skin cells are supposed to replenish themselves when we're young, and then take an after picture. So you can see that this lady only used it for 21 days, and these were the results in her neck. And we could not believe that when we saw it at the convention. And we happen to know this lady. She does live in Sweden now. And we went running up to her and said, "Show me your neck." We couldn't wait to get our hands on the product. Dr. Marty Morin is a research veterinarian. He wanted to do research on the same identical cells and the same age cells. So he put it on only half of his face. And you can look at the difference in the depth of his wrinkles on this side, around his mouth, nose, and eyes, as opposed to the difference in that side. This man used it on a heel crack, and in just a week's time, his body had completely healed that crack, which is very painful. And this lady used it on puffiness around her eyes and and the wrinkles around her mouth. We had people that had scarring from rashes or burns or chemical burns that probably would have left them scarred for life. But in just 2 months, this lady, you couldn't tell where she'd had anything wrong with her face before. This man had a skin tag. Those are damaged cells. Those cells got the message not to reproduce themselves, so it dried up and fell off for him in just 16 days. And this lady had a rash that troubles many people around the world. There's nothing that medicine has for it, but in just 3 weeks of using it, it had just about completely gone. And here is the lady that I talked about that we're very happy her son had taken a before picture, because when she came to him, she said, "Son, I feel great on this product. However, I just don't see a difference in the way I look." And he just went, "Mom, you've got to be kidding," and took an after shot. So as I'm saying, please take a before shot, because as you're looking at yourself every day, cell regeneration and cell renewal is a very slow process. If you're looking at yourself every day, you're not going to notice the difference until you take an after shot about a month later. So make sure you take the before and after shots. And the more you use the product, obviously, the better you look, because this is 3 years later for her, and she looks even better. As we were rubbing this on, we noticed that a lot of our discomfort and our pain and our joints and our muscles were going away. So we've determined, just to make sure that it does happen, that if you rub it on 3 times in 5 minutes, anywhere that you're having any kind of discomfort, 9 out of 10 people will notice that either their discomfort is completely gone, or it goes down to like a 1 or a 2 in the effects that they're feeling. So if you want to really prove to yourself that this product is working, because I have a lot of people say to me, "If this works for me," well, don't wait for yourself. You don't know how long that's going to take you. And you're keeping your friends and your family members from knowing about this, who could really use it right now. They can determine for themselves if they'd like to use it or not. They don't have to wait for your response. But take this out to 10 people who are having discomfort and rub it on 3 times in 5 minutes and see for yourself what 9 out of 10 people, what will happen to them. And then you can go and tell other people about it if you have to have results yourself first. The next thing I had to do was determine how solid was this company. This was a brand new company. Most brand new companies go under within 1 year to 2 years. And I wasn't willing to put all my 20 minutes of time every day into something that could go bankrupt within a couple of years. So I borrowed a buddy pass from a pilot that I knew, and I flew standby out to the launch of the product in Las Vegas. And I found then that I'd met the founders, Vertus and Tyler Norton. And once I met them, I knew I was in very, very, very good hands. I also learned that they had already started making money in their 7th month. That's how well these men are able to run companies. Vertus Norton had been vice president of strategy for Kraft Foods, Hobart, Dart and Kraft. Any problem or issue that they had with a department, they gave it to Vertus because he had developed the StratLink technology to enable him to focus in on where to put time, money, and energy. And he and his son had both taught this to corporations, turning around their production and really increasing their efficiency. So he knew, he's been compared to Steve Jobs. That's how good he was. And well, it was in business. And so I knew just right away with the integrity and the feeling of the man that I was in very good hands. So I will now tell you a few facts about ASEA that's happened since that time. We're now 10 years old. We have the world headquarters that you saw in the picture when I first brought it up in Salt Lake City. Just a block down the street is our production facility. Vertus has stepped down. He's now 79. But he turned it over to men that he has worked with, who have had years of experience in both Fortune 100 company management and network marketing, which is what he eventually went to. We were profitable in the first year, as I said, and we have zero debt. We have an FDA registered and a NSF and GMC registered facility right down the street. So it's pristine. It covers about 7 basketball courts. It's huge. We can produce about $800 million worth of product at this point. And it's pristine. Anybody who's gone in and done a tour of that facility knows how really wonderful it is. We shipped that product to 18 global distribution units around the world. We're in 34 markets, about to be 35 with the Philippines. We've done 600 million in revenue since launch. We did 126 million just last year. That threw us into momentum, meaning more and more people are hearing about redox and are signing on to get the product. As I stated, we could do 800 million, but in just a couple of weeks, we could roll in enough equipment to produce $1.6 billion worth of product. So we have plenty of room to grow and never be without product around the world. So we are post-risk and entering the momentum, as I said, with no limits on residual income when we just educate others about what this is and have them make an informed decision about whether or not they would like to try the product, and then share it with people that they know and love. Here are the markets that we're in so far, and we're expanding continually. And here's our production distribution facility. This has the new markets of Asia that just came in, the Philippines, Taiwan, Thailand, Hong Kong, and Singapore, as well as North America, Canada, United States, Mexico, and most all of Europe, Australia, and New Zealand. But it was the ASEA story that really turned my life around and made me commit to something very profound, in my opinion. Vertus stood up at the launch of the product and was telling us the story. Before this was ASEA, it was another company, and they had been playing with salt and water, and they produced redox signaling molecules, but they didn't know what they were. They had no idea. They knew the lab technicians were drinking the product, and their health issues were completely going away. However, they didn't know what it was, and it was unstable. It would turn right back into salt water within 5 to 15 minutes. And so they didn't know what to do. So they decided to try it, running it down indications, which means they're taking it down specific diseases to see what it would do for that disease. So they could try to figure out what they were and try to stabilize it. So they took it down 3 major indications that affect our whole world. And they found that it completely turned around these diseases, but they still didn't know what it was, and it was still unstable. So they asked Virtus to step in to help them financially. And he found that they were already so financially in debt because each indication can cost from $1 billion to $2.7 billion that he just said, I'm sorry, I can't help you. If you'd come to me earlier, I would have been able to do that. So he stepped back off the board and watched, and they decided to sell off this formula because they didn't know what else to do with it, along with several other assets, so they could stay making money, stay in the black, as we call it. And so he and a group of investors went in and bought this. As he told his family, who was making fun of him for having salt water from Salt Lake City, he said, if I can find an atomic medical physicist, he can help me determine what this is. His daughter just happened to know one. So this atomic medical physicist, Dr. Gary Samuelson, did research every day, and to his amazement, he discovered that what they had produced was indeed redox signaling molecules identical to what our body makes. And then he and his team of scientists were able to stabilize this all within a year's time. Now Virtus had what he wanted. He'd been talking to a pharmaceutical company, and he decided to get it on a focus group of 40 of his friends and family and church members who had major health issues. 6 of them only being given weeks left to live. So he gave them this product and just said, drink as much as you want. There is a perceived health benefit. They started drinking, and in 2.5 months, they had turned around so completely in their health that they had now shipped it to 135 friends and family that they knew in 20 countries. And so Virtus had what he needed. He called the pharmaceutical company, and they flew in their private jet. They looked at all the studies. They looked at the indications. They looked at the white papers. They looked at everything. They looked Virtus in the eye and said, we are prepared to give you a check so large, you don't go anywhere else. And if you take the check, we shut you down. Everybody comes off the product now, today. And he looked back at him and said, well, that's kind of harsh. Some of these people are only alive because they're on the product. And they looked back at him and said, that's the cost of doing business with us. If you want this check, and this was hundreds of millions of dollars, then that's what happens. And he conferred with the other founders and went back and said, I am very sorry. I've got to turn down your check. The world deserves to know about this. And then he looked out at the audience. We were all sitting there. And he said, and now I need your help. I turned down the check. I started this company. If you don't go home and tell your friends and family about this, then the world will still not know about it, because I can't do all of this myself. And every single one of us in the audience stood up with tears in our eyes. We knew what he'd done and said, of course, Virtus, we will help you. And that's the day that changed my life and changed many of people's lives that were there. And we've come home to change many people's lives that we've told this to. So think about that as you're thinking about this product and what it can do for people. And what effect this would have on your life if you decided to share it with people. He decided on network marketing. He didn't like it to begin with, but when he looked into and did his research on it, he found that it's just one of the most ethical ways to do business, because it's good people telling other good people about a good product or service. He knew what kind of product he had, and he knew he wanted to attract some of the best people and create an ethos for this company, an ethos of gratitude and loving and caring people. And that's what he has done. But you can see how potent network marketing is compared to the NFL, the music industry, the movie industry. They're all huge, but network marketing is $190 billion. It's a very viable way to do business. And the ASEA growth has been consistent every single year. And now, as I said, we're in momentum. So it's just going straight up from 2018 now. It will go straight up. So if you're looking at this now, you're in a very at a very good time. I will go through this quickly. We have lots of science if people are analytical and would like to look at some of the science articles. I can tell you that most people don't care. They just want to know, is this safe and will it work for me? I can guarantee you both those things. But I can show you that we were very happy when a couple of years ago, the Huffington Post put out an article about 5 emerging technologies in science that will shape our lives in the coming years. We were number 4, and we were redox signaling technology, the only technology there with a product behind it, and they mentioned ASEA. We've got, if you go to the redoxdoc.com, he is a doctor who is not associated with ASEA at all, but he's done lots of research and he's used ASEA for some of his research. If you go to that website, you can see what redox molecules do for all these different areas of your body. If you want our own studies and our own videos, go to amazingmolecules.com. You can scroll, you can watch the video that I did. It's called the Redox Breakthrough. It's the first one up there. And then you can scroll down to see all the studies and all the white papers and many other videos about athletes and everything else on this product, if you'd like. We've had Anne-Louise Gettleman come to our conventions. She's on ASEA. She has written over 30 books on the New York Times best-selling list. The first lady to say we needed good fat in our bodies years ago. She's known as the first lady of nutrition. In her estimation, ASEA is the greatest advance in lifestyle medicine which harnesses the power of your own body to keep you well, and has rewritten her books to include ASEA in them. The Hippocrates Institute, which has got a very high cure rate. If you go there, if you've got something wrong, and a lot of people have done this, they changed the way you eat, think, and exercise. Dr. Bryant Clemens was one of the first to get ASEA in 2009 and did his own double-blind study. And he's told me personally twice now, he feels that ASEA is the single greatest supplement he has ever seen in his life, and they sell it at Hippocrates. Here are all the different institutions who have done research for us. Stevens and Associates did a blood flow. This increases blood flow by over 50%, stays up for 96 hours that way. And cell regeneration. This regenerates cells 16% faster. That's why you look younger. There's the Dermatest Labs who did all the studies with wrinkles and hydration. They gave every single one of our products 5 stars for our facial stuff. And 90% of the women that used it wanted to buy it. They've never had that happen again. The North Carolina Research Campus with Dr. David Neiman did a metabolite study. You actually go into fatty acid metabolism within a few.
Setko on suora. Sitten pitää katsoa, että täällä on molemmat töpselit kiinni. On. Ja sitten vielä, että nostaa se kansi, että onko se pumppu siellä vedessä.
And you haven't been there since you were 4 years old. So this is why athletes like it so much. You're actually burning the fatty acids around your abdomen and your organ, and you're leaving glycogen in your muscles and in your brain where it's needed. And Pacific Northwest Labs did all of our safety studies. Bioagilytics does 8 out of the top 10 biotech and pharmaceutical companies, and they test it for ingredients that they say are in there. We say we're redox molecules, so they test every batch and then they keep them for audits later. And they put that on the back of every single bottle. And that's how you can go to your doctor and say, these are redox molecules. Go to PubMed and look at all the studies. And lastly, Tarot Labs, who started Ancestry.com, did a genetic study for us. They took 35 healthy men and women. They gave them 8 ounces of ASEA a day. 100% the people who took the salt water, which was the placebo, had nothing happen. 100% everyone who took ASEA had an increase in 20 to 31% of their genes lighting up. Genes are what tell cells what to do in 5 major genes. And those are immune system, inflammatory response, cardiovascular health, healthy digestion, and hormone modulation. And those genes modulate hundreds of pathways in your body. And so I can show you what the hormone gene alone can affect and all the pathways that it does affect. So now you've got spinal cord injury and sudden infant death and insulin signaling and human thyroid stimulation, ovarian infertility, serotonin, which is why you're happy taking this product, circadian rhythm, which is why you sleep so well on this product, and the NRF2 pathway, which is oxidative stress. We've actually done 2 studies proving that ASEA greatly lowers oxidative stress in your body, which is the rusting which causes you to have disease. We rebranded the bottle into the beautiful blue bottle that we now have, and we put that study on the back of every bottle. And that way you can just turn over the bottle and show somebody exactly what this product can do for you in terms of that most people can understand. Everybody knows what the immune system and inflammation is and heart health. We also wanted to be the #1 company in the world for cell health. The other things that cells need, besides a foundation for cells to heal themselves, is to have food. And I can tell you that Source and Biome and LifeMax, they have studied it and researched it, and they synergistically work with the redox molecules, and they give your body, Source gives you the main nutrition, LifeMax takes away the stress by giving you all kinds of things like more SOD, which is more of your master antioxidants, and taking away stress helps joints and the ability to be happy and to let your cells live the length of time they're supposed to live in a healthy state. Biome goes straight to your gut and helps your gut. And when your gut is healthy, then you are healthy. So we have a unique company and culture for our business model. We have ethos training based on the knowledge that people are always more important than material goods. I love that about this company. And all we do is educate people and make referrals. We make referrals when we tell people about a good movie or a restaurant. And if they go, then we get paid. It's kind of like that. So if they try the product, then you get paid. And that's what we call residual income. We have lots of residual bills, so there's nothing like residual income to pay for that. And there are 8 different ways to get paid if you are interested. Some people want to know what an actual monthly income would be, and this was our income disclosure statement that we had to give to the United States and to the Federal Trade Commission, which we're required to do. And so there are actual salaries of what people are making in this company. So virtually what you do is I came home. I was so excited on the flight home that I couldn't wait to tell people. And I told a person, and they started telling people, and they started telling people. And I can tell you that it spread because I didn't know anybody except in the United States and Canada at the time. And I can tell you that I am now in 32 countries. And that's not to brag, it's just to show you what can happen. That's the effect I've had on the world by just telling people. So now I've got an American distribution channel and an Asian one and a European one and an Australian and a New Zealand one. And that can happen for anybody by just sharing this, because you never know who knows who in the world and what effect you're going to have on somebody's life. I know I told Dr. David Silverman, he was one of the first. He's told thousands of people. And a lot of you are on because of Dr. David Silverman at this point. And that's the effect you can have on the world by sharing this with people. The lifestyle rewards, they reward you very handsomely for just sharing this and educating people about this. We have lots and lots of fun. ASEA has become my new family. Both of my parents have passed away, and so it's my friends here who I call and discuss things with and tell personal things to and just share my life with at this point. And as Verta so eloquently put, make lots of money so you can make lots of memories. And that's what we have for sure done. I've been with my own personal family on a cruise, and we made so many memories there, and I could have never done this without ASEA. And then I've gone with my ASEA family on many trips. And this one was to Panama. It was a fabulous trip where we had lots and lots and lots of fun together. So our mission and ASEA's mission is to better people's lives and be a force for good in the world. And we can continue to improve people's lives and change the world with your help. We would love you to join us and consider trying the product yourself. So I'm going to stop sharing now and see if there's anybody that has any questions or would like to ask anything.